Hello guys. Um, Thank you for join this uh meeting. It's remote, and actually we don't meet. But I hear doing this recording to help you with the digestive anatomy and also finish this lab. So I will do the same thing for the in-person class, but I make the recording so it's easier for you uh, to to complete this work. So let me share my screen. All right. So this is the slides. So digestive system is a system to break down our food, and so the system come from your mouth. You start to do mechanical digestion. You cut it, and you also start with chemical digestion. You use enzyme to break the molecule. We are dealing with three type of the molecule. The primary one, those three type. In our earlier lecture, we talked about those macromolecule. So what does it mean by break it down? So basically, we want to see them become monomer. So all these molecule has their own monomer. So you need to remember what is the monomer for carbohydrates, what's the monomer for protein, what's the monomer for fat. So those are the three nutrients that we absorb from our food. There are more than that, but those are the primary key things that we need in our body. So break them down require a lot of mechanical and the chemical process. So mouth is the first one here. After chewing on it, you break it down. Enzyme to break down carbohydrates, saliva release from here, salivary glands, mouth, teeth, chew on it, tongues, moving the food in your mouth, mixing it with the saliva so it digests it, going into the pharynx. This is the throat, then enter into the esophagus. So the epiglottis is the one to prevent you from transporting the food into the airway. And so food will be moving down to the esophagus, then pushing down into the stomach. Stomach is the organ to do more digestion. We're gonna store the food here. If it's solid, we're gonna store the food here for about 4 hours. And in that 4 hours, stomach's mixing those solid food. They are solid food, but now they are quite mushy, mixing with the very acidic stomach juice. And then with that acidic um, condition, we can further break down the protein. Protein will be denaturized, and then the enzyme in the stomach is very powerful to break down the protein. So what does it mean by break down the protein? It means it become monomer. What's the monomer of protein? That's amino acids. Then you break down the carbohydrates here, break down the protein here, coming down here, going into the small intestine. Small intestine had three segments, and then continue small intestine. In the beginning of the small intestine, it receive input from the gallbladder and the pancreas. And then small intestine continue all the way down, then going into the large intestine. Large intestine also have several segments. And then you have the colon, and then going into the rectum, and then anal. Here you poop out those feces. So we break down those molecules to make them become monomer. Then in the small intestine, this region is the organ we absorb those back to our body. For those we don't absorb, we will move them into the large intestine, and then we poop them out as feces. So that's that here, just additional thing right here, appendix. This is one attached to the beginning of the large intestine. So that's this part here. So that's all the terminology that you need to know. The primary one, the key things here uh, involved in our digestive system. So knowing this, we can finish our first lab questions. That's right here. So this is the first one that we need to answer. And so what's A? A is mouth, right? So that's A. What's B? B is tongue, right here. B is tongue. What's C? C is, this one is the salivary gland, right here. So salivary glands, there are three major salivary glands. And so you can see that one around 1, 2, 3 right there. So that's C. Let me double check. It's probably I can look at the book. It's easier, it's more clear. Let me double check if that's what it's pointing at. Yeah, so C, C, D, E right here. C, D, E are salivary glands. So let's figure out what are those three salivary glands. So we will go back to this one later. Let's go figure it out. So mouth, right? Mouth right here. So this is the anatomy of mouth. And its function is to cut your food. You have lips, you have teeth. Between teeth, this muscle is called gingiva or gum. On the back here, you have the uvula. This one stop the passage from your mouth into the nasal cavity, nasal passage. We don't have a slide there. Yeah, but it block it. I think we talked about that in our respiratory system. Here is the tonsil. We also talk about that. Hard palate, soft palate, and then tongues. Then it's a buccal mucosa. So basically just a mucosa, yes. Then floor of the mouth. So that is the mouth. It has the saliva. So that is the three major saliva. You have the parotid gland, uh, very back. It use a duct to release those saliva into your mouth. On the bottom, right underneath your tongue, you have the sublingual. Next to that, you have submandibular. So those are the three one. So knowing this, we can go back to our questions right here. So I would say this is a sublingual. This is the submandibular. This is the, let me double check. This one here. Parotid. This is a parotid gland. Yeah. So that's the parotid gland. So that's A, B, C, D, and E. And then here, food going down here. F, this is esophagus. Then going down here, you are looking at EFG. You're looking at the liver. So liver has a different parts of the liver. So we are looking at right lobe, left lobe, and this is the separation of the right and the left. So let's look at the liver. Um, I didn't think it's liver, but yes, this is right side, this left side. Let me go to the liver slides. So we will see that. Yes, swallowing here. The uvula right here gonna block the nasal passage when we swallow food. So liver, where's liver? Here's the liver, right side, left side. So when we look at the picture, it's like we are looking at your patient. So that's the person's right side, the person's left side. So liver again, bile, small intestine. All right. So I should have a picture right here. So we have the right lobe. This is the left lobe. And the separation right here is called falciform ligament. So that is what you need to put in the liver labeling. So let's go back to this page. So the liver is covered. Now, R is the gallbladder. So that's R. And I is stomach. So that's easy. Q is the beginning of small intestine. Now, small intestine, it has this one. And coming down here, you have this one. Coming down here, you have this one. So small intestine are uh, include three portion or three segments. Here we have the Q, O, N. So what are those three segments? Those three segments are right here. The first one is duodenum, and then continue with the jejunum, and then the third part is the ileum. So that's the three segments of small intestine. So that's how we label the small intestine over there. Then the small intestine will continue with the large intestine. Large intestine begin as cecum, C-E-C-U-M, then moving toward colon, and then pubial. So let's look at the small intestine and the large intestine. Go back to these one. Where is it? This one here. So Q, O, N, R, jejunum, jejunum, uh, duodenum, jejunum, ileum. I think that's what it is. Duodenum, I think that's the first one. Let me double check. Duodenum, right here. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Yes. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So that's the small intestine. All right. Let's go back to here. And then large intestine. This one is the appendix. And then large intestine, this whole thing is called colon. But colon has three portions. So they have name. Let me go back to the column right here. So column, we have the column size right here. So column, you start as cecum, and then you have the ascending column, transverse column, and then descending column. So that's those labeling. So that is the ascending column, transverse column, K, and L is the descending column. And that's all. All right. So that's the first labeling that we do. We do, and we basically can finish those. All right. So that's first one. That's the overall of our digestive system. The next stop is the esophagus, right here, mouth, esophagus, then stomach. Here is the stomach. So stomach stored our food, our solid food for about 4 hours. And here are some labeling. So what we need to know basically is the entrance portion, the exit. So that's 3 and 1 here. And then you have a curve, a smaller one, a curve, a larger one, and this one, and this one. That's it. All right. So let's figure out how do we call them? How do we identify them? So just to go through this one here. This is the mouth, salivary glands. Then mouth is our chewing basically is controlled by our mandible. So here showing you the mandible again. This is our very earlier lecture when we learned about the bones. So this is the teeth and um, cor coronoid process and the condylar process. We have this one. You know, if you still remember, we have this one in our lab exam. Then mouth again. All right, so just showing you the additional thing here is that in the bone, we have this alveolar process. And when we have the look at from the oral cavity side, not just the bone, this one will be the ridge, the alveolar ridge that, you know, locate on top of the alveolar process of our bone. And the mandibular alveolar ridge right here. And the other thing we have seen them before. So mouth digests the carbohydrates, basically break them down into the monosaccharide. So that's what mouth does. Then swallowing basically we want to make sure that the food doesn't go into the respiratory tract. The respiratory tracts are nasal cavities and larynx and the trachea. So we need to block these two. And we have two things to block them. So uvula block the nasal passage. Epiglottis block the entrance into the larynx. So that's that. And we need to open one thing. That is the upper esophageal sphincter. We need to open that one. Open it, and the food can come in. So that's swallowing. Esophagus, moving the food down to the stomach. Here is stomach. So what do we need to know? We know what is the entrance. It's called cardia. What's the exit? It's called pyloric sphincter. So here, basically close most of the time because we want to keep our food in the stomach long enough to digest the protein. So that's the entrance, that's the exit. Then curve. This one is a lesser curvature. This one is a greater curvature. So that's easy. Then the major part of the stomach, so the body. However, this portion is called fundus. So that's that. In fact, when we get the food inside, because our stomach is muscle, so they contrast. When we squeeze it, we can squeeze a lot of those in the fundus. So fundus seems like the place the stomach temporarily store them in in there, like just like your cabinet, put it there. Yeah, so that's that. When they're moving down here, is about to leave. Pylorus. Here is the pyloric sphincter. So that's that. So we have this. Then here is connected with esophagus. This one connected to the duodenum, the small intestine. So have those. We can answer this question. This one. This is cardiac, lesser curvature, greater curvature, pyloric sphincter. This is fundus. This is the body. So that's that. Then the food is going into the small intestine. Small intestine has 3 segments, and by then, a lot of these foods are pretty small already. So they need further refined digestion, and then those refined digestion is supported by pancreas. So we will go back to the next table, but I want to give you a clear here the stomach, a clear like understanding before we go back. Stomach is mixing the food, and then the pyloric valve or pyloric sphincter can open, slowly release those mushy stuff into the small intestine. The major digestion conduct in the stomach is protein digestion. The acidic environment can denaturize the protein. The enzyme can cut it further to form the monomer. The monomer of protein is amino acids. Stomach only do part of this, and another part of those is done by small intestine. And the small intestine, in fact, cannot do it on its own. It needs some support. So here is a small intestine. Small intestine has 3 segments: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Duodenum has a support from 2 other organs. Duodenum connect with the pancreas and the gallbladder. Pancreas release pancreatic enzyme. Gallbladder release bile. So let's look at this anatomy. So here is the stomach again, connect with the duodenum. And you can see that in the very beginning of the duodenum, there is an opening. Opening connect with tube. This opening is called ampulla of Vater. This tube has 2 organs, connect with 2 organs. One is the pancreas. Pancreas will release digestive enzyme through pancreatic duct into the duodenum. And with this one, we can further refine our digestion, making the molecule to become monomer. So pancreatic enzyme has a lot of different kind of enzyme. They can digest all different kind of things. So it's very powerful in digestion. And the gallbladder right here, it will release bile. Gallbladder doesn't produce bile. Gallbladder is simply store the bile. The bile is produced by the liver. So you can see the liver, when they produce the bile, they will release into small intestine already. But additional one will be stored in the gallbladder. So this is just a storage. And the function of the bile is to help digesting the fat. So fat, because fat is pretty greasy, they tend to group together. Bile is very much like a detergent. They can break those fats apart. So that's that. So just showing you again, This is the small intestine. The liver produce bile, stored and released through the common hepatic duct, then going into the common bile duct. This bile then going into the small intestine. Some of those stored in the gallbladder. This one is called cystic duct. So that's that. And then small intestine receive those um, support. Small intestine in the beginning, they will be able in the duodenum, they will be able to it will be able to break down all these molecule to become monomer, and then our small intestine will start to absorb these into our body. Just tell you the composition of the bile is very watering, and the main thing is called bile acid. And then here is a inner lining of the small intestine. You can see that it has increased the surface area in order to absorb these nutrients. And so you can see that uh, this part is called, let me see here. This part is called, okay, plicae. So this is a plicae. That is a plicae. That is a plicae. And in the plicae, you also have these protrusion that's called villus. Villus. And on the villus, you have these epithelium cells. These epithelium cells serve the function to absorb the nutrients. And on the surface of this epithelium cell, they also have a microvilli. It's also called brush border uh, of that cell, or we also call it brush border membrane of this cell membrane. And then things will get absorbed, go into the capillary, and then here's the lymphatic vessel. Then things can enter into our body. Before we absorb them, we can further digest the disaccharides into monosaccharides. We have the enzyme called maltase, sucrase, lactase. The reason I show you this one is because that not everybody has all these enzymes. Particularly for adults, we gradually lose the production of lactase because lactase is the enzyme to break apart lactose. Lactose is the primary nutrition that baby get from the milk, but adults has the adult food. So um, we don't we have more enzymes, we have some other enzymes, and the production of lactase become less. So some people do not have enough lactase to break apart lactose, and the person will have lactose in the small intestine. When they stay in the small intestine, they'll keep on moving into the large intestine, and and uh, um, um, and then those lactose will you are not going to use them. Bacteria use them, and the bacteria use them to uh, it may generate the metabolism, the process that irritate your intestine, and so the person would have lactose intolerance because they cannot digest it completely, basically. All right. So when we absorb all these nutrients will go through the capillary, go to the veins, and then go through the hepatic portal vein, go to liver. We talked about this one earlier already. If we don't absorb them, the things will go into the large intestine. So here is just a circulation of the liver. Um, so the thing when we absorb them, they will go into the portal vein, then go into liver. So liver has three vessel system two enter into liver, one leaving away from the liver. So the one that enter into liver are the portal veins. But liver also need nutrition, need oxygen. This portal vein doesn't carry oxygen because those are the vein. Those are those oxygen has been absorbed by our small intestine. So this portal vein, the blood right here, doesn't carry oxygen or carry very little oxygen. So for oxygen, it will need come from the aorta. Aorta here is the celiac trunk. So we mentioned about that. And then there are three branch. One is the hepatic artery right here, hepatic artery. So hepatic artery is another system um, that blood circulation into the liver. And so you have two coming in, and then after liver or process all this, getting the oxygen that they need, the remaining blood will come into the hepatic veins and going into the vena cava back to our heart. So that's liver. We show this one already, just the anatomy, right lobe, left lobe. This is the falciform ligament. And so this is the liver and absorb the nutrients. For those which is not absorbed, it will continue to the large intestine. Large intestine has a segment, cecum, colon, and rectum. Then we poop it out. Large intestine, this cecum, column, we have the ascending column, transverse column, descending column, and the sigmoid column. And then in rectum, we poop, get the feces ready, then we poop it out through the anus. This lining of the large intestine, the major thing here is that they don't really have a increased inner lining like plicae and villus to absorb nutrients. Instead, they are pretty flat. Yeah, pretty flat throughout. They have something here is the mucosa layer. This is the crypt. In the small intestine, we also have this crypt. Basically, those embedded in the mucosa. This is the uh, the tube to secrete mucus into the inner lining. And you also see the muscle in this tube. And then the function of the large intestine is to absorb water, electrolytes. Bacteria, we have a lot of bacteria in the large intestine. They provide a lot of nutrients, actually. Let me just drink water a little bit, sorry. They provide a lot of nutrients, actually. So we like to have good bacteria in our guts instead of bad bacteria. It store and uh, work on this bowel movement to poop these feces out. Yeah, so that's that. So it's good to have a regular uh, bowel movement, meaning that you have you know, at least once a day or once every other days to poop. Yeah. So that's good. That's good. That's better. And you need to know if you have an issue with the constipation, what can you do, right? You need to kind of think about this is a bowel movement, and you need to think about, okay, movement is controlled by muscle, and that's controlled by the smooth muscle. And then when you think about that smooth muscle, you need to think about, okay, then what control it? It's controlled by autonomic nervous system. That is our lecture, you know, you need to watch the watch that lecture. I'm going to post it. That's our coming lecture. And then you need to think about, okay, the autonomic nervous system has two branches. One is sympathetic, the other one is parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is activated uh, when your body is more uh, calm, like in the resting and digesting. And so you need to kind of like don't stress yourself too much. Don't be The way to not to stress is, don't squeeze everything in a short period of time. You need to spread them out. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You need to have a regular like daily life, and so everything is working accordingly. Yeah. So here is the digesting time. Chewing, eating take a couple minutes. Swallowing takes seconds. Food in the stomach take hours. But it depends. If it's liquid, it will quickly go through. If it's solid, it will stay here for, say, 4 hours. And then slowly but gradually, those will go into the small intestine. We can absorb them. And then large intestine, we poop it out. And so by 4 hours, you move everything into a small intestine. Your stomach will be empty. And then stomach will tell you that, okay, I'm done my work. You start to eat. And so after a meal, after 4 hours, you will feel hungry again, then you get another meal. So that's that. And that's it. All right, so let's go back to our lab. So we finished this one already. So this is the duodenum. We have two organs connect with the duodenum. One is the pancreas. The other one is the gallbladder. So what is one? This is pancreas. Pancreas. So this is pancreatic duct. So let me show here. That is this one here, pancreatic duct. And the gallbladder coming down here is called common bile duct. And the opening here is called ampulla of Vater. So we will look at those. They will be here. So it's one, two, two. This one is called cyst, cyst, let me talk, systolic. Let me double check. CYS something. Yes. Yes. Cystic, sorry. CYSTIC. Cystic duct. Yeah. So that's a cystic duct. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't label this one. This one is way more important, but that's okay. Cystic duct. And then coming down here is the common hepatic duct. So let me see. Right here. So that one is the common hepatic duct. So one is pancreatic, two is cystic duct. Three, this one is the portal vein. So vein coming in, enter, portal vein, hepatic portal vein. I think he's pointing at this blue thing, that's a portal vein. That's three. Four is the common hepatic duct. Four, let me double check. Four is right here. Four is right here. So common hepatic duct. Yeah. So that's four. And then five here, ampulla of Volta. So five. So five. Let me show here. Five. Ampulla of Vater. Yeah. So that's that. So that's the heavy traffic area. You have three organs um, connect together. So that's that. This one is another uh, picture showing you the oral area. So let's work it. One is the hard palate. Two, three is soft palate. All right. And the two here is so here is the pharynx. You have the nasal pharynx. This one will be the oral pharynx. So two will be oral pharynx. Three here is the soft palate. Four is tongue. Five is teeth. Six. All right. So I would say, is this six? Yeah, let's say if this six, if this six, then I would say we can call this one uvula in the back of it here. Soft palate, then uvula. All right, let's put the uvula. Right, six uvula. Seven right here. So this is the alveolar ridge. So I think I have this one here, alveolar ridge. Where is it? Alveolar ridge. So this is the mandibular alveolar ridge. Yeah, so right here. Seven and eight, lips, upper lip, lower lip. So lip. So that's that. All right. So we have two more questions to answer. I think that's it. Yes. So why is the main structure and the function different between small intestine and the large intestine? I think that's large intestine. Let me double check. Yeah, large intestine. So what is the structure and the function? So structure difference is that small intestine has a lot of the surface area for nutrients absorption. And the large intestine is pretty much flat, and it has a lot of these grips, dipping. Let's do it this way. Yeah. So let me bring you to that structure again. Small intestine, inner lining right here. So you have a lot of this protrusion, increase the surface area. First one is the larger one. This one is called plica here. Plica. And then on top of plica, you also have this protrusion is called villi. So that's that. In contrast, in the large intestine, everything is flat. They only have this portion. This portion is the uh, it doesn't say here, glands, yeah. So crypts here, crypt right here. So in the large intestine, everything is flat. All right, let me show you here. Large intestine is flat. You only have this deepening into the mucosa. So that's that. That's the structural difference. And the question is also asked about the functional difference right here. Functional difference. So the functional difference are major functional difference is the small intestine absorb your nutrients, but large intestine doesn't absorb nutrients. It absorbs something, but it's not the primary function. The primary function is to to store and forming feces. That's the primary function. As for your nutrients, you need to absorb them in the small intestine. Small intestine is the primary organ to absorb your nutrients. So that's that. Question three, what is the function, all right, of the cardiac and the pyloric sphincter? Cardiac cardiac is entrance into the small intestine, sorry, cardiac is the entrance into the stomach. Pyloric sphincter is the exit of your stomach. So cardiac prevent your food enter back into the esophagus, which is important because your stomach's very acidic. And so if those acidic stuff going back to your esophagus, you will feel heartburn. You will feel that burning in your esophagus. It actually will cause some burning, some damage too. So that is to prevent it going back to your esophagus. Pyloric sphincter is to control how much your stomach mixing can enter into the small intestine. And so this one control this stomach emptying process. So that's the function of these two. And that's it. All right. I hope this helped with your understanding of our digestive system and also complete this lab. Let me know if you have any question, okay? All right, bye-bye.